The delusional dream of the globalist utopia and the realities necessary for global sustainability. The concept of some singular grand global society is not but a grand delusion that stands in sharp contrast to the observable realities of human behavior, societal structures, and the functional limitations of governance. While the notion of a globally unified community may suggest a level of collective cohesion, mutual understanding, and shared responsibility, the reality of human interaction on both micro and macro scales directly contradicts this idyllic dream. In modern urban environments, individuals frequently live in close physical proximity to one another without engaging in meaningful relationships or even acknowledging one another and their mutual existence. The prevalence of isolation within cities, suburban neighborhoods, and even tightly packed apartment or condominium complexes reveals that the idea of a universally connected global society is entirely disconnected from the way people actually form social bonds in the real world, where, for better or for worse, we all must live while we are here. At the most basic level, individuals naturally prioritize their immediate surroundings, forming relationships based on shared experiences, cultural familiarity, and direct personal interactions, a concept also commonly known as the local context of modern society. In contrast, the idea that people would feel an inherent connection to those living halfway across the world, in entirely different political, economic, and cultural contexts, is entirely unsubstantiated by human behavior and historical precedents. The absence of even the most basic personal interactions or relationships within local communities highlights the inherent flaw in the assumption that people would engage meaningfully with or feel accountable to individuals in distant and unfamiliar societies. The tendency toward social fragmentation is further exacerbated by technological advancements that, rather than fostering genuine interpersonal connections, often serve to isolate individuals further. Social media, rather than promoting meaningful engagement, frequently reduces social interactions to superficial exchanges, reinforcing the illusion of connection while further detaching individuals from their immediate communities and the realities of the physical world. These challenges become even more pronounced in the context of governance. As governing bodies become increasingly centralized and removed from the local populations they seek to lord over while continuing to claim they represent these local residents, they simultaneously become less accountable and less capable of addressing the specific needs of those populations. In smaller communities, governance structures are inherently more responsive because those in positions of authority exist within the same social, economic, and environmental frameworks as the people they serve, and must face those individuals on a daily basis. These officials are directly impacted by the policies they implement, and their accountability is immediate and tangible. However, as governance structures expand in scale and move farther away from the populations they oversee, manage, and seek to control, this accountability erodes and quickly becomes authoritarian without having an enforceable voice for each locale. Policies become generalized, abstract, and disconnected from the realities of those they affect. Officials who operate within centralized institutions are often entirely insulated from the consequences of their decisions, further diminishing their capacity to govern effectively. This erosion of accountability is further exacerbated by the bureaucratic nature of large-scale governance. Institutions that operate at national or international levels often justify their existence under the guise of public service, yet their structural detachment from the populations they oversee results in decision-making processes that prioritize institutional continuity, ideological objectives, and bureaucratic expansion over the tangible well-being of individuals. The further removed a governing body is from the local population, the more likely it is to prioritize policies that serve abstract or self-perpetuating goals rather than addressing the specific and immediate needs of the people it claims to serve. This is clearly evident in the proliferation of regulatory agencies, international governance organizations, and supranational institutions that impose policies without any meaningful connection to the lived experiences of local populations, never mind any understanding of the local context. The disparity between the illusion of a great global society and the actual fragmentation of human social structures is further highlighted by the practical failures of large-scale governance initiatives that attempt to impose universal solutions onto highly diverse and context-dependent populations. The assumption that a governing entity operating at a national or international level can effectively dictate policies for regions and communities with vastly different economic conditions, cultural norms, and social structures is fundamentally flawed. Policies implemented under this framework often disregard local contexts, leading to inefficiencies, resistance, and outright failures. The persistence of such governance models, despite their demonstrable shortcomings, further reinforces the reality that large-scale institutions operate primarily to sustain their own existence rather than to benefit the populations they purport to serve, under what are far too frequently authoritarian measures. Ultimately, the myth of a great global society is not only detached from historical reality but also actively harmful when used as a justification for the expansion of centralized and unaccountable governance structures. The inability of individuals to form even basic social connections within their immediate surroundings underscores the impracticality of assuming that a truly interconnected global society could ever exist in any meaningful way. The further governance structures are removed from the local level, the more ineffective, unaccountable, and detached they become, reinforcing the reality that effective governance must be decentralized and responsive to the specific needs of local populations rather than dictated by abstract ideas imposed from afar. The legally binding and decentralized governmental structure of the Philippines is ideally suited for the establishment of large-scale, decentralized, and semi-autonomous people's organizations that are both owned and controlled by the local populations. The Local Government Code of 1991 institutionalized a framework in which governance is rooted in local representation, ensuring that those who are most directly impacted by policies and initiatives are the same individuals who exercise authority over them. The ability of local residents to elect their own representatives creates a system in which decision-making is firmly grounded in the realities of each locality, allowing for the implementation of policies and programs that are responsive to local economic, social, and environmental conditions. This legal and structural foundation provides an ideal framework for the development of decentralized people's organizations that operate as self-sustaining economic and social entities within their respective communities while further benefiting from coordinated national support. A centralized national foundation operating within this decentralized framework can provide economic and material resources to encourage and support local resilience. By ensuring that these people's organizations retain ownership and control at the local level, external disruptions to national or global markets can be mitigated, as localized economic structures allow communities to sustain themselves with reduced reliance on external forces. The role of the National Foundation in providing logistical support, training, and coordination ensures that individual localities are not isolated, but rather integrated within a larger national framework that can provide assistance and stability while preserving and maintaining local autonomy. This system enables local communities to strengthen their economic and social foundations while also contributing to larger national and global efforts in a systemically sustainable manner that prioritizes economic viability, social cohesion, and environmental preservation. The beneficial impact of such a decentralized and locally resilient system extends beyond the local level, contributing to the overall stability and strength of the nation, and could ultimately be expanded globally. As each locality develops greater self-sufficiency, the nation benefits from a more evenly distributed economic foundation that reduces disparities between regions and minimizes the dependency of local populations on centralized national intervention. The improved median quality of life at the local level strengthens the nation as a whole by ensuring that its constituent states or provinces are more viable, with more self-reliant populations and stronger local economies existing within the larger socio-economic framework. The reinforcement of local economic systems reduces the strain on national infrastructure and resources while additionally fostering a more stable and sustainable national economy. As local communities improve and achieve greater economic and social stability, the overall societal environment at the national level is enhanced. When local governance is more effective, national governments are freed from the need to intervene in every regional challenge, allowing them to focus on broader national and global concerns. The ability of a nation to engage in meaningful global cooperation is strengthened when its internal structure is stable and its local populations are well supported. Rather than being preoccupied with managing local crises, national governments can direct resources toward addressing international concerns such as trade, environmental sustainability, and diplomatic relations. This allows for a more effective approach to global cooperation that does not seek to impose a singular, universal governance model but instead recognizes and respects the distinct nature of each nation and its internal communities. While the notion of a globalist utopia is inherently flawed, a decentralized yet coordinated system allows for the recognition and celebration of national and cultural differences while simultaneously fostering cooperation on mutual global concerns. Rather than attempting to assimilate all societies into a singular global framework that is too large to manage and incapable of addressing local needs, a decentralized model ensures that individual communities retain their unique identities and traditions while also participating in broader efforts to improve global conditions. By prioritizing local resilience and national stability, the world can become a better place for humanity to thrive without requiring any society to relinquish its identity or autonomy. A system that acknowledges and strengthens local governance ultimately contributes to a more functional global framework in which cooperation is based on mutual benefit rather than forced conformity.
Please like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Music by Hatman.